Hi, Libra. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for July of 2021. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas in San Francisco.
And Libra, if communication is being an issue for you this month and you want to get some things sorted out about that, a natal and transit reading would probably be the one that could be the most useful to you. Well, I do want to say, though, that this July looks a lot smoother than last month did. So it's about to get a lot better. There are several reasons for this. One is that Mercury retrograde is over, and that's a pretty big relief. Secondly, both of the moons this month, the new moon and the full moon, have lots of harmony embedded in them and not a whole lot of stress. And then thirdly, even Juno retrograde is not all up in it with the moon. So Juno retrograde is going to finish out with not so much of the high emotion that we may all have experienced with it last month. So, and let's just take a little quick look at your Juno retrograde. Where is that happening? Well, it's happening right here in your third house of communication. And this is a relationship retrospection period. That means that everyone in the world has been asking themselves the really big questions about relationships. Like, can I grow in this relationship? What does this relationship mean? Is my partner growing or stagnating? And for you in particular, because this lands in your third house of communication, it may have brought up a lot of conversations, hopefully dialogues, not just, where one person is talking and the other person has to listen. So this month is a really good time to have those conversations, have them deliberately, and be generous and warm in them. Julia, what do you want to throw in there about Mercury? Mercury is the god of communication.
Oh, yes. And like you mentioned, it just finished up his retrograde cycle. So that definitely helps things out a little bit. Now, Mercury starts the month in your ninth house. And this is the house of learning. It's the house of travel. It's the house of expansion. And Mercury represents our mind. So wonderful transit if you're trying to learn something new, or even if you're in school. Also a nice transit to take a pleasure trip. Mercury likes to buzz around, and the ninth house rules travel. So this could be a nice time for going somewhere new. That kind of expands your horizons in some way too. Then on July 11th, Mercury moves into your 10th house of career, where you're going to have an increase in communication, as well as spending a lot of your time thinking and strategizing about your present career, whether you're in one or you're looking for your next one. So maybe that involves thinking about which projects you want to take on, or how to sort of tweak things so they look good on your CV, stuff like that. Then Venus, the planet of art, beauty, and relationships, starts the month in your 11th house of friends and also groups. The 11th house rules all the groups you're a part of. So that can also include everything from unions and recovery programs and clubs and societies and gamer circles. So Mars is also in here too. I'll get to that in a little bit. But with Venus in here, you could be really enjoying spending time with your friends, or even becoming more involved in the groups that you're a part of. The 11th house can also rule your long-term goals in life. So you're looking towards the future very optimistically during this transit. Then on the 21st, Venus moves into your 12th house of isolation, where you're going to want to withdraw a bit more socially and just kind of spend more time with your partner at home, because the 12th house is such an isolated place. Now, the 12th house can also represent charity, altruistic endeavors. So you also might enjoy maybe doing a little bit more service work, helping somebody else out in need, or maybe making an anonymous donation to some cause that you really care about. Now, Mars, I did mention he was going to be in the 11th house as well. He's the planet of conflict and the planet of energy. So in your 11th house, there may also at the same time be disagreements and maybe a little bit of conflict with your friends. Even though you guys are enjoying each other, some stuff might also come up, as well as anything from the groups you're a part of too. And you could be spending a lot of energy just like trying to get ahead on your long-term goals, the goals that take a number of years to really realize. So whether that's saving up for a house one day or getting married, those sort of big overarching life goals, which are represented by the 11th house. At the very tail end of the month, on the 29th, Mars is going to move into your 12th house of isolation, bringing all that Mars energy into a much more sort of like secluded place in your chart. And Jamie and I are going to be covering that in a lot more depth next month, because that's when the transit is really going to take place.
Well, I want to tell you about the moons, starting with the new moon in Cancer, which is falling in your 10th house of career and authority, your own authority, as well as the authorities in your life. And this moon, we're calling it random kindness because it's got a very strong nurturing feel. And that's because the moon is at home in the sign of Cancer. This is the sign of mother love and nurture. And so we're recommending that you practice random kindness and do it in whatever house governs the area of life, in the area of life governed by the house where this moon falls. And that would be your career. So this is really that time to, like, bake those cupcakes and leave them on your boss's desk, and maybe even do it without revealing who you are, but just as a sort of an act of anonymous good. That's the most powerful way to create good karma, with random kindness. The next thing I want to tell you about is the fact that Chiron, which has been traveling along through your 7th house for some years actually, is going to turn retrograde. And it does so right here on the 15th of July. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer. And when it travels through a house, it brings up old wounds to the surface for healing. And there are special opportunities to heal more deeply than ever before. But you really have to approach it the right way. It can be delicate sometimes. This retrograde turning day is a pivotal day, or a turning point in your healing process, in your relationships with other people, partnerships of all kinds, whether business partnerships or personal ones. If you want to know more about Chiron transits, how they feel and how to handle them, you'll find a video for that in the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, and it's in the July 2021 news playlist. That's where you'll find that good stuff. The next thing I want to tell you about is this month's seasonal change, which is the sun moving into the sign of Leo, exiting Cancer, which is your 10th house, entering your 11th house, which is Leo. And this is the house of community and tribe, friends and groups, people of like mind, and contextualizing yourself in those groups. So the sun is there, bringing the spotlight of attention into that arena here around the 21st, 22nd of the month. And so it might be time for, an increase in your social activity. And if that sounds like a paradox, it's because really it is. It's a paradox because Venus at the same time has just moved into the 12th house. So you might want to stay home with your partner and not necessarily go out with your partner a whole lot. But the sun is saying there is some beautiful community support there for you in the last third of the month. Now, this is going to really come to a peak actually July 23rd, 24th, as the full moon happens in the sign of Aquarius in your 5th house. The moon in Aquarius, this full moon, we're calling it community support, specifically because Aquarius is it's that 11th house arena of community and tribe, and the moon, as we know, is nurturing and caring. And so you may find yourself giving and receiving community support, but also this moon is actually falling in the house of leadership for you. So I think there's going to be some kind of a balancing act, and you are Libra, so it's always about the balance, isn't it? A balancing act between wanting to take on leadership, wanting to be seen, wanting to be noticed and acknowledged, and also stepping back and recognizing that everyone's voice is important and powerful and should be, spoken. So that balancing act will be there for sure. And I think that's what we have for you today, Libra. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please be sure to share our horoscopes widely. We love to make them for you. And you can find us on the net at pandoraastrology.com, where we have our monthly forecast and our horoscopes are there. You can send all your friends to find their horoscope for free. And you can take classes or get readings. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.
Bye.